it's me again. So I wanted to make another video about some pros and cons that I had at my first base. I was originally stationed at Kunsan Air Base in South Korea. It was in Kunsan City, so it's kind of southwestish. But I just wanted to make a quick video about some pros and cons that I just had at Kunsan, just to kind of give you guys, maybe if you come in, maybe if you do want to come to Korea, I mean, eventually everyone's going to do a short tour sometime in your career, but the sooner you get it done with, the better. So some of the pros I had was I did learn a lot of things. I learned a lot about my job. I learned a lot about myself and everything, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot more than I would have thought I did, but I'm glad sometimes I did go there, just because it gave me that sense of purpose, knowing that I'm more experienced at this base than all the other airmen that I work with, because I was stationed overseas, because I went through what I went through, because I went through all those exercises and things like that. I had a lot of leadership skills that I learned. I had to do a lot of briefings when I was over there. I would brief for chiefs, commanders, for the wing group. I've talked to the wing group, to the group commanders, to the wing level commanders. I've talked to almost everyone and anyone that you could think, from all different specs of the Air Force, from all different career fields of the Air Force, and having that kind of stuff has really made me interested of learning what it's like in other jobs. So if you ever have a time to like job switch with another job, I would absolutely recommend doing it, because doing job switches it's fun, it's interesting to see what the other side does. So like with when I was in Korea, when I was in the MPS, we were part of the FSS, or the Force Support Squadron. So in the Force Support Squadron, you share, as a personnel, you share the FSS with services who are usually 3Ms. We are 3Ss and they are 3Ms. We share the Force Support Squadron together because we both support what the mission is, the group, the wing, and everything like that. So that's a thing I had to learn as well. I didn't know that we shared the FSS, because they don't really clarify it in your technical and personnel. They're like, hey, you share the FSS with services if you ever do go to the MPS. And knowing that, it kind of threw me off at first. And so having that job swap, having to work in like the fitness center, and then going over to outdoor rec, and then going over to marketing, or going here or here, has really changed my perspective on what services does. And so I thought it was super interesting to learn about that. Another thing with Kunsan, or at least short tours in general, is it's only a 1-year follow-on. Yes, you can do it longer than 1 year, and there are benefits and there are cons. It just kind of depends. And like I said in many other videos, it's a case-by-case situation of how you really think about that kind of stuff. But it usually is a 1-year follow-on, a 1-year tour, and then you get an automatic follow-on. Not always everyone will get an automatic follow-on, but usually we get to pick what we want as our follow-on afterwards. So if you want to go to Germany, if you want to go to the UK, to Aviano in Italy, somewhere back home to the States, maybe you want to go to Alaska, you have a better chance of getting one of those assignments than someone who is in stateside, who is in Germany already, who is here, or who is there. We get the better chances because as a short tour, and as how we were in Korea, we had such a high turnover rate, and our turnover rate was 10 days, which means your replacement comes in, you have 10 or less days to teach them every single thing about your job, and then you leave and you PCS to your next base, and you learn whatever else you need for your job, whatever new position you're in. And that was the hardest part, I think, about Korea, because it was such a turnover rate and it was so high. Everyone was PCSing, a bunch of people were coming in and out every single day. So that was the thing I had to get used to. But having that chance of getting a follow-on automatically Like I told you guys, I had a follow-on from Asawa, but I was medically disqualified halfway through my tour in Korea, and that's why I have Lackland now. I still got a follow-on. I just didn't get the follow-on that I automatically had coming out of tech school going to Korea, because I was medically disqualified while I was already in Korea. I met amazing people over in Korea. I met some of my best friends in the Air Force. I met some of the best NCOs ever. Like, I trust these NCOs with my life, with everything I have told them. They've helped me through a lot of stuff that happened to me, unfortunately, when I was in Korea. And I just want to thank them all so much of everything they've done, from everyone to the MPS to everyone who I've met through work, through of me being their outbound counselor. Everyone that I've met has been so amazing. Not everyone has treated me with respect, or has been nice to me, or has been easy to work with. Unfortunately, a lot of the customers are like that, and that's what you're going to get when you go into an HR kind of job like this. You're going to get those people that are awesome, and you're going to get those customers that are like, they're not so awesome. But, I mean, that's just something you have to learn. Yeah. Like I said, I'm looking at my notes again, of course. As a first-term airman going over there and then coming over to here in Lackland, out of all the airmen I work with, this is my second base. That is all their first base. Some of them have been here for 5 years. Some of them have been for 3-4 years of their Air Force career. And so I've been on PERSCO, I've been on PDF lines, I've done deployment stuff in Korea, I've done exercises in Korea. So that taught me a lot more. And I'm basically almost at the rate of like what an NCO would do. I've done the work of an NCO. I've done stuff of an NCO because they treated me like that. They gave me that workload. They gave me that much responsibility to develop me as that better airman. And so as that better airman, now I'm here in a new base, so I can show it off to my new place, to my new supervisor, to my new commander, and just show everyone what I'm like, what I've learned from my other base. And so it was nice getting developed into an airman that knows how to do a lot of stuff, unlike a few other airmen that don't know as much that I do right now. It's very laid back in Kunsan. It's extremely laid back. Like, we would go to the hooches, which are like squadron run bars, and it's just a nice time. There's music there, there's pool there, there's drinks if you, of course, are of age. The group commanders, Falcon and Falcon 2, sometimes they'd come around, they would say hi to everyone, seeing how's it going with everyone, and that was super cool, just seeing the squadron commanders, the group commanders just come out and just talk to the airmen and ask just like, hey, you're having a good time, how's your weekend going? And it's just cool to see the higher levels always just coming down, seeing how the younger airmen are doing, seeing how the lower levels are doing. They're not always just up there with the other officers, up there with the other commanders, up there with only the senior NCOs, or even the NCOs in general. They talk to the airmen, they talk to the young airmen like us. So that was really nice, getting to just see the higher leadership just be more relaxed with us, especially on the weekends and everything. Another nice thing about Kunsan, unlike Osan, is we don't have dependents. We have no dependents at all. We're not allowed to have dependents. The reason why Osan is allowed to have dependents and Kunsan is not is because Osan can just support the dependents. They have a big enough base to support the dependents. We do not. We have such a small base. No one can bring dependents. Yes, dependents can visit, but can they be stationed here with us during our 1 year? That is a no. So if you do have family, if you do have a dependent, just think about it if you want to come to Korea, because you'll spend a whole year away from them, and bringing them to Osan as a command sponsorship, it's so difficult, and it's honestly not worth it, because if something were to happen, you're bringing your dependents to you on your own dime. If something were to happen, like war breaks out, you have to send them back on your own dime. for me, I don't think that's worth it. So, but that's just personally my opinion. Of course, everyone is different. I'm a single airman, so I don't exactly know how exactly it would work, but that's just me personally. Some of the cons I have is it's a very small base. Commissary is small, BX is small, everything is small. We're 20 minutes away from everything. We can't drive. You can't drive until you're E7 or above. It's very far away. Like, if we're trying to go to Seoul, if we're trying to go to Busan, if we're trying to go to Osan, like, everything is about 2 to 3 hours away, roughly. And that's the hard part, because it's like, oh man, Osan just has to take like a 30-minute subway trip to Seoul, and then they're there, and then they can come back like the same day. I mean, we can do it too, but we gotta plan out. We gotta wake up early. We gotta leave early. So it's a lot harder for us to do that kind of stuff. We do exercises. So your mop gear, the gas mask, the helmet, the vest, the gloves, the boots, the mop gear that we wear. Unlike Osan, Kunsan does exercises too. I mean, Osan does exercises, but the difference is when Kunsan does our exercises, we shut down the entire base for the entire week. So that means you have to make sure you meal prep, you have enough food, you have enough water, and that kind of stuff, because nothing is open. If nothing's open, then you can't buy anything. With Osan, you do your 12-hour shift. Once you're off it, you're just done for the day. With Kunsan, do your 12-hour shift. Sometimes it turns into 14, sometimes it turns into 15, which it absolutely has for me when I was there. As soon as you're done with your shift, you come back to the dorm. You don't leave the dorm. If you leave the dorm, you need a wingman. You need to go in your mop gear. You'd have to carry all that stuff. It's not even worth it. And you're tired, you want to shower, you want to eat, you want to sleep, because then in 12 hours, you're getting back on shift. You're replacing the people that are being on shift for 12 hours. You have air attacks going on, you have ground attacks going on, you have PDF lines, you have PAR routes going on, you have this split mop levels. You have so much stuff going on for Korea, for Kunsan, really. It's just not worth going outside, going anywhere else, because the whole base shuts down anyways. There's not much we can do, because we have to simulate like this was a real exercise, like something actually happened. And so we take it very seriously. The gas mask and mop 4, you're wearing the gas mask, you're wearing all the gloves, the helmet, the vest, all at the same time. I've been in that stuff for about an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes maybe 2 at the most, because I was in a situation where I just had to be, and that's just, it happens. And so, just depending on how you are as a person, how quickly you learn, Kunsan is a very fast tempo base. It's very quick, get stuff done, learn this really quickly, and do your job. So how you are as a person and how you do your job depends on how easy it is for you to adjust, how hard it is for you to adjust. It was hard for me to adjust because I was across the world from my family. I wasn't with my family. It was hard to be away from them because I already had been away from them for a long time. But like I said, I learned a lot about myself because I was medically disqualified and something happened to me, unfortunately, when I was in Korea. So I did learn a lot about myself. And I'll probably make a video about that coming in due time, maybe in December time frame. I got my 5 level when I was in Korea too. That was super exciting. I got a decoration, as some of you saw, either on Snapchat or either on Instagram. I did get my decoration. I got my plaque. Like I said, there's so many pros and cons to every single base, and this isn't just including Kunsan. Any single base you go to, there's going to be pros and cons everywhere you go. So you just got to find what those pros and cons are. And being in Kunsan, yes, I'm still there's still parts where I'm like, oh man, I'll never go back there again. I was like, I hated it there. But there were times where I'm like, oh man, I loved it there. I loved the leadership there. I loved the people there. And the people is what made Korea. That's what people always told me. The people make Korea. You'll never find another base like Korea, and nothing will ever compare to what Kunsan was. I was like, yeah, right. I was like, you have no idea what you're talking about. When I left Korea, when I left Kunsan, and I came here, I was so sad, and I hated Lackland for for a good couple of weeks when I was first here, because I was like, man, they were right. I was like, I don't have any of my friends here. I don't have anyone here. I was like, I don't know anyone. Nobody treats each other like how they did in Korea, where we all got together, where we're all in the same situation. Everyone's got families, they got cars, they're doing their own thing. I was like, I had no one here. And so that's another thing that Kunsan definitely kind of I learned, is every base is going to be different from each other. And if it is, like I said, find the pros and cons about that base. And that's, I guess that's my biggest thing of saying about this video. Learn the pros and cons of all your bases. And so other than that, thank you for everything that you guys do, for following me on Snapchat or Instagram, for asking questions if you do have questions, for watching these videos and everything. Thank you guys so much for everything, and I hope to make another video really soon. So thanks, guys.